and welcome back to the Front Office Podcast. It is really good to be back in the seat. I am Marcus Cameron, your host, and as always, we got our co-host Elwood. Not on this particular episode, we working through that, but super excited about being back for season 2. I thought season 1 was really just kind of feeling things out, seeing how it works. Talking with nobody around in front of y'all. It worked out pretty good. I got some good feedback. So I think we're going to keep this particular portion of the show but in season 2, we have some interviews already lined up, ready to go. We have some other formats that me and Elwood are going to do. But we're going to keep this one because the people who are subscribed to the channel so far definitely seem to like this particular format. So I'm going to try to keep that coming to y'all. Thank you for everybody who's liked, subscribed to the channel, liked any videos. We appreciate it. And, of course, as always, we are rocking some independent clothing. This one is one of my own special from Marked Up Clothing, Tees and Trees. Y'all seen it before. You're going to continue to see it until you get tired of it. Back from the summer. It was a long summer. Basketball was great, but, it kind of ended with Denver winning the championship, even though I was really rooting for the Lakers. But free agency happened. I think I did an episode on that. But now we are into the gladiator sport, football. Yes, football is back. We're all excited about it. Honestly, we're starting in like almost week 3 of the season just because time, family, me and Elwood. Kids are good. My daughter just started Ridgeview High School. She's a high schooler now, along with my son Aaron. Both of them are actually on the cross country team. I'm really proud of both of them. They're doing great, and it's been a challenge. I mean, 5 a.m. is when they practice, so it's been different, and I've had time to kind of see where I want this to go. So I think y'all gonna enjoy it. This particular portion of the show, it's gonna kind of be Marcus going on a tangent about some news or something that happened, and I'll talk general sports as well. But for the most part, it's gonna be something kind of specific that maybe triggered me to feel like I need to respond. So first up, Mr. Noah Lyles. Okay, I want to start off by saying I don't want to bash Noah Lyles. He is a successful young brother, 6-time world champion. He's a good friend of my cousin. So I don't want to bash him about his comments. I think he's gotten enough of that. I just want to clear some things up and where somebody who's a basketball purist stands on his comments of, the NBA is not champions of the world. Technically, I will say that he's correct. It's not. Just because you win an NBA championship, you technically didn't play every team in the world to do it. So in that aspect of it, he's very correct. You can take it how you want. Some people took it disrespectful. Some people agreed with him. I took it as a planned move. Whether that be true or not, I don't know. I haven't talked to him. I don't have no resources saying that it doesn't sound like a planned move, but that's what it sounded like to me. I watched the whole press conference, and he was interjecting and saying things like that throughout the press conference. Now, if that's just him, then that's just him. But to make the statement, I will say, Mr. Lyles, if you happen to be listening, you are right, technically. Here's where you're wrong, okay? Winning an NBA championship is the best of the best. It is the best in the world. And I already know you're going to say, oh, well, Team USA, they came in fourth. They played the world and lost. Let's be real clear about that Team USA. No disrespect to the guys who are on the team. That ain't the team we could send over there. It's some memes going around of the team that we could send over there, and I promise you they coming back with the gold. I mean, we've proven this over and over and over and over again that the NBA is the top level of competition in basketball. Is the world catching up? Absolutely. Perfect example. the best player in the NBA. I hate to say it because he's not one of my favorite players in this game. It's kind of boring, but he is the best. Is Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets. He's from Serbia. That means that the best players in the world are trying to get to the NBA because it is the highest level of competition. It is the best in the world. So they might not go to Budapest and play a game, or they might not go to China and play a regular night season game, but they also play 82 games a season, bro. I respect what you do. Like I said before, my kids are running track. I got a cousin who was very successful, ran with you on Team USA. I respect the game of track, and I get bringing attention to it, but sometimes maybe it's not about tearing something else down, or not even tearing it down, but just making a comment that could become controversial like it did. But again, like I said, if it was planned, it worked out perfectly. You know what I mean? It worked out perfectly. I think he's an NBA fan. I don't think it. Like I said, he's a confident young brother. I'm not gonna say nothing negative about him personally because I don't know him. Just met him one time at the wedding, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really speak on his personal character, and I'm not going to. I'm just speaking on the statement that he made. That's my personal opinion. You can take it for what it is, but that's how I feel about that. The NBA world champion moniker should stay. I don't care like if it's not them going over and playing China or this team or this team. All those players from across the world are trying to get to the NBA. Not one of them grew up saying, I want to play for the Serbian national team and that's it. Don't want to go to the NBA because the best players are over here. No, they didn't say that, bro. They didn't say that. They said, I want to get to the NBA. So that's my little rant on that. Secondly, we got to cover the Colorado Buffaloes and Mr. Primetime, Deion Sanders. Now, I'm a huge fan of what Deion is doing down there. I didn't have a problem when he took the job when he left Jackson State. I love the fact that he went to a HBCU first. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, he didn't do nothing for the program and blah, 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 blah. A lot of y'all wouldn't know who Jackson State was if Deion didn't go coach. Let's just keep it a buck. So, you know what I mean? Like, you got to – that's my personal opinion on him. But I thought it was a good move. The only move I didn't like that he did is when he first got to Colorado. And he said he came into the current players, and, of course, the cameras were rolling. He had the cameras with him. And he basically said, you know, I'm bringing my luggage with you. You know, y'all need to go ahead and jump in the portal, which is a very true statement. Nothing wrong with that. I had a problem with it being filmed for the world to see because that just seems like a closed door kind of conversation. You basically telling them players they're not good enough. Y'all need to find elsewhere to go because y'all can't play for us, which is fine. You know, that's sports. Like, you got to make tough decisions and you got to say tough things to kids sometimes, and it is what it is. But to bring your film crew in, knowing that you got 1 million plus followers, 1 million this, you got 1 million that. So whenever you play a clip of it, like, you know, whether those kids worked hard enough or weren't good enough or whatever the case may be, they don't deserve to be embarrassed. And I saw his 60-minute interview, and I don't care how you break it down, but like, oh, if words hurt you. Yeah, the words, bro, but let's understand the power of social media, bro. Like, if you'd have said that in a closed locker room, no problem. The fact that you aired it for millions of people to see that shit, that hit different. And that's somebody of his age, I think, not understanding the power of social media. And, you know, Deion kind of stubborn too. He probably don't feel like he did nothing wrong. And technically he didn't. But if I was a father of one of those kids, we'd have to have a conversation, bro, because, like, why did you have to put it out to the world? If my son ain't good enough, cool. He need to get his walking papers. He need to hit the portal. All right, bet. It is what it is. It's a business anyway. But that's like you not getting a job and 1 million people seeing it on Instagram Live. You know what I mean? Like, nah, bro, you can't do that. So, but that's my only knock for Deion. And again, it's not really a knock. That's just saying if I had to say something negative about him because he does so much positive things for that program. You know, I love the atmosphere he's creating. Me and my wife were talking about it the other day. Like, we got to go to the Colorado Buffalo game. That shit lit. You know what I mean? They got Offset on the sideline. I mean, that shit lit down there. So we definitely want to try to get there. But my rant is about y'all. You fair weather fucking fans. Okay. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. But it needs to be said. It needs to be said. And I see y'all asses on Facebook, Carolina, no, Colorado Gamecocks, and you're a fan of this team, and you're a fan of that team. Hey, listen, man, Prime deserve real fans over there, bro. So if you're gonna support them, make sure you keep that same energy when they lose. Currently, they undefeated, and nobody's happier for that than me. All right, but they playing Oregon Saturday. They don't have Travis Hunter. They got a little bit exposed by Colorado State. I thought they kind of exposed that defense a little bit, and I thought they were the more physical team, honestly. I mean, that was a dirty hit on Travis Hunter, but they were hitting all night. They were more physical, and I thought that was kind of exposed as well. So when and if they lose, I hope they go undefeated. Great. You know what I mean? Come see Florida State. That's my squad. Come see us about that. We'll take care of that. But if they lose, keep the same energy, man. Like don't throw him under the bus. Don't critique him and say, "Oh, he should have did this and he should have did that and all this shit." Man, just be a fan and support your team if that's your team. You know what I mean? If that's your team. All right. So that's all I got as far as things that I just needed to get off my chest. Just a quick preview of college football though. Currently, right now the top 5 is as stands. Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2, Texas number 3, FSU number 4, USC number 5. Just for my local South Carolina people, neither one of our schools are ranked currently. I don't believe. I might be wrong on that. Bama is all the way at 13, which is crazy to me. I think Ohio State is at 6. They're going to stay around there. That's just who Ohio State is. I'm a big Florida State guy. Anybody that knows me, I've been a fan of Florida State forever. I love what Mike Norvell's doing down there. The Boston College game, we tried to give that one away on Saturday, but I think that's why we dropped from 3 to 4, which is fine. Top 5 is cool. Let's coast. We got a really big game against Clemson. Make sure I'm clear when I say this. Clemson, we know y'all don't. We know y'all don't fuck with us, and we don't fuck with y'all. It is what it is. I ain't got no love for Clemson in no way, shape, or form besides my homeboy Ed Scott playing ball for him and one of our players, Clyde Trapp, playing ball for him. Other than that, I don't care nothing about y'all ass. I want to smoke y'all every time we play y'all. So for the fans, my Facebook guys, Daryl Williams, Carson Sinkler, who else is a Clemson fan? There's a few other y'all just running around. Oh, Jerron, Ham is a fan. Listen, man, we coming to Clemson on Saturday, and I'm telling you, y'all better find a way to win that game. Because if y'all don't, all of y'all gonna unfriend me by the time it's over with. Because y'all been sitting up at the top and y'all been so arrogant about the shit. Just, we just the greatest. And, man, listen, man, we've been running the ACC for a long, long time. Not a 5-7 year stretch. Long time. And we going to cement that when we come down there and cut that ass on Saturday. So you make sure you tune in. But speaking of big games on Saturday, we got a lot of big games on Saturday. I'm actually trying to go play golf. But we play at 12. Colorado plays Oregon at 3:30, I believe, on ABC. I think Ohio State plays Notre Dame. I don't know who Alabama has. Those are the games that kind of stuck out to me out the top of my head that I'm going to definitely check out this Saturday. I'm okay with the top 5. I don't think there's any controversy in there. I'll give Carolina credit, South Carolina. I'll give South Carolina some credit in the sense that they played Georgia really tough this past Saturday. Shout out to Kevin Dudley, most all USC fans around here. I don't not want to. I don't root against USC. Put it that way. I don't root against them. I'm not going to root for them just because it's just not a program I can get and stand behind. I've been living in South Carolina my whole life except for about the 2 years in California. I've seen team after team after coach, and it's always the same shit. So I just can't really get behind it. But I thought they played really well. Few mistakes here and there. I thought that guy Juice Williams going down. I'm not sure if he came back in the game, but I mean he was, yeah, he was looking like he had his man early. So if he stayed out, that played a big part. Uh, Dudley argued with me today at work about Spencer Rattler being top 5 in the country, which is not a crazy statement. It's really not. It's not a crazy. I just don't think he's top 5 in the country. He's definitely top 5 in his conference, maybe not the country. And that's another thing. We got to look at the theme of the SEC maybe not being the best team in football anymore. Like, seriously, like the best conference. I mean, the SEC, in my opinion, is not the best conference in football anymore. I'm not sure if it comes down to one conference. I think that transfer portal, players being able to get the NIL deals, that kind of evens the plate. Like, look at what Deion's son making over there at Colorado in the Pac-12. This man making like 3-4 million. Travis Hunter getting a mill. You know, these guys are getting real money, and because they playing for Prime in some small conference in Colorado, which is historically a great football school, but hasn't been for a very, very, very long time. I mean, why would you go to a Florida State? Why would you go to a Florida where there's 4 guys in your position and you probably not going to play till you're a junior? Or why would you go to an Alabama? Yeah, I'm going to make a little cheese. They're going to give me some money, but I'm going to sit and not play. I can go play for Prime. Colorado will be a top 5 team next year. Mark my words. If Shador stays and he somehow keeps Travis Hunter out of the NFL, that's going to be a top 5 team next year because everybody's going to want to play for Prime. And that's just the power of him. I think he's changing that coaching, that old school, I don't relate to my players, this my way or the highway type shit. You know, Prime is showing you a different way to do it, and it's still with discipline, but he's doing it with, if I'm an aspiring football player, he's got former pros on his staff. He's the greatest defensive back of all time. It's not an argument for me, so I'm not going to say debatable. Greatest defensive back of all time, period. I understand why Travis Hunter flipped and went from Florida State to go play for him at Jackson State. I get it. Like, maybe it's a guy at Florida State, and I don't think it is in our secondary, but we are pretty good this year. That was going to keep him off the field. And Deion, and then maybe they wasn't going to let him play wide receiver. Like, all those things come into play when you can level out how much money you giving a kid. And I think that's why you see some of the older coaches don't really like the rules. And then a guy like Deion who's like, I can adapt to it because that's the kind of game y'all going to play. I can do it. And I think that's the difference in the coaching style that he brings. I like his coaching style. I mean, he yelled at a kid on Saturday night. And as soon as he was finished yelling at him, they put it on camera, he hugged him. You know what I mean? And it was like, I ain't never really seen that before. These kids need hard coaching, but they also need to be able to relate to their coach. And Nick Saban is a Hall of Fame coach. Kirby Smart, 2 national championships in a row. Dabo Swinney, who, even though he coaches Clemson, I love him as a coach, players coach. I think he's a little bit more of a new breed. You know, I think Deion is the next. And I think Deion is showing that you can get it done a certain type of way. It's not always this old way of doing it. You can apply some different principles and some different things that you want to stand behind. But for the most part, you can kind of go be you. And I think that's great. Just like with the whole new media, and you have these players doing the podcast, which in my particular situation where I'm trying to do a podcast, I haven't been an NFL or NBA player. I don't have NBA and NFL players just laying around. Like, it's tough because that's the more interesting podcast. Like, I watch All the Smoke and Paul George podcast, JJ Redick, just some of the few that I kind of like checking out. And I like checking it out because they're giving me a perspective that I don't have. But there's another side of that with the new media. And I'm not sure if the players are aware of this. You know, fans have a perspective too. And if our perspective isn't respected, or you don't even take it into consideration, let's not forget is guys like me and a million other people who are not athletes. They pay to go to the games. They don't come out there cussing y'all out, calling you out your name, saying disrespectful shit. You just bringing your family to enjoy the best athletes in the world doing whatever they do, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, and you don't respect that. I think you got to kind of look yourself in the mirror. It's like, well, bro, like if it wasn't for us, like you not making millions. Nike's don't want to give you a shoe deal if ain't nobody in the stands. So I think the fan perspective is important, but also I think it has to be respected. And I said this on season 1. I'm rarely gonna get on here and call somebody trash. Very rarely. It may make for good TV and entertainment. It may be more interesting when somebody talking out the side of their face. But, bro, if you're in the NBA and you average 6 points a game, like nobody who doesn't play at that level, played at that level, should be calling you trash. You are at the highest level of basketball on a team. So what, you're not the guy. That doesn't mean that you're not the best from where you are or just one of the best players in the world. And I had a good friend of mine, kind of break that down. He played overseas, and he was just like, man, you know how hard it is to score 20 points a game? Like, maybe now it's a little easier, but it's still work, bro. Like, you still got to be a whole athlete, a real baller to be able to go out there and get them kind of numbers. And the game's so fast now. Now it's really supposedly not defense, but it's different patterns and different ways you can see it. But that's here nor there. Back to college football. Like I said, this Saturday, check that out. We'll review. I'll record something on Sunday before the NFL starts. And shout out to Rob Williams. He's got a party Saturday, promoted by the Goodfellas. Cowboy party. Rob always does it pretty big, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna be packed out. It's at Sweet 60. Y'all make sure y'all go check that out, man. Be safe. Be careful. I'm out. I will see y'all tomorrow with the NFL review, and then hopefully we'll be putting the next episode we'll be putting out will be our interview with a Mr. Edward Antonio Scott. Peace.